Press the bell icon on our YouTube app and never miss another video from SpotboyE.
Hello.
Hi, Swara. So just tell me, Swara, what is the movie about, and when you did it, did you know that it will land up in such a messy situation? Anaarkali.
No, yeah, I mean, actually, the thing is that the movie is it's a very good film. The content is fantastic. It's a film about an orchestra party singer who leads Bohemian West, who leads a life singing double meaning songs, which she performs in weddings and in celebrations in small towns and villages in Bihar, in and around Ara, which is a city in Bihar. And this is a real cultural practice. I mean, this actually happens. There are these orchestra parties that function like this, and that Naach parties, orchestra parties that do this thing. So the film is set around a girl like this Anaarkali, who's a small star in Ara. She's a talented woman. She has this life, and then something happens in her life that kind of breaks the whole illusion that she has about her own life, about her own self, and it exposes the kind of fault lines and contradictions of that society, which can sort of idolize and glamorize a girl into a small, desi local star, but for the same songs, and then use those same songs when something goes wrong. Use those same songs as an example that she's a horrible woman, and she got what she deserved. So it explores this whole mentality.
It questions her character.
No, the film doesn't question her character.
No. Those people, the society, yeah.
The very same people question her character and then say things like, typical the victim blaming, victim shaming kind of mentality that we have. So the film explores this entire world. It explores all these contradictions, and it's a very brave film. It's a great film. It has some excellent, it has excellent content, great script, has great performances by everyone. Sanjay Mishra, Pankaj Tripathi, Isyak Bhai. There's a new actor called Mayur More. These are all fantastic actors. Great music. The film music is a very important part of the film. That is very fantastic as well. Amazing lyrics. And it's a world you haven't seen on screen after Teesri Kasam. It's actually a world that you are seeing in Bollywood again after a very long time. And Bollywood is an industry that sort of glamorizes the item number so much. Here is a film that is taking a look actually at the world of the item girl, so-called within quotes. Like, what would be for example, Chikmi Chameli's life really like? What is Munni Badnaam's life really like? We don't give these women a voice, a story, a world otherwise in our films. We just use them as entertainment, as song, as just a value, glamour value. Here's a film that's actually getting into that very world and asking all these questions. So I think it's a great film. And as far as, it's not really any mess. I mean, I think that there is a certain process that every film has to go through, and then we're hopefully going to go through that and come out, and everything's going to be fine.
But they are questioning, the censor board has rejected the film at the examining committee. Then
I don't think that's happened. I think that there were some. That is something that is happening to all films now that have a certain kind of like a content. And I think that there are some certain cuts have been advised by the censor board, which I think our producers have accepted. So we should be getting on the certificate. We're not even challenging them. So hopefully we should be getting the certificate pretty soon. I don't know what is the reason for any. There shouldn't be any stress around that.
Okay. But are you happy with the cuts that have been given? Because the kind of content which the trailer depicts will obviously be diluted in the film.
I don't think that any artist or any creative person will ever be happy with any kind of cuts being advised to them by anyone. Because that is an artist's, own preoccupation, and everyone will want a complete freedom of expression on their own content. But unfortunately, we don't have that space in our country right now, and in the kind of arrangement that we have even in this industry. So I think that this is a problem that is not just me. I'm sure that censor board has existed from 1950s. So I'm sure that a very large number of people have faced this.
Correct. How were you comfortable doing those dialogues and a bit of exposure, the backlist scene, I guess?
Yeah, those are always difficult things to shoot. And but I think that I have been very closely involved with the I've read like more than 20 versions of Avinash's script. I have worked out ideas with him. We jammed on the script, ideated on it. So nothing came as a surprise to me. I knew everything that was going to be there, and I trusted Avinash's intention, and I trusted the team that was shooting the film. So everything was shot with a lot of respect, with a lot of integrity. These scenes are always mostly, I mean, at least as much as I know, shot in a very respectful way, keeping in mind the vulnerability of the female artist who is performing, and that is true of our film also. And because I know that this is the problem when scenes get leaked, or when things when this kind of thing happens. Because when you see something out of context, it will always seem very sensationalist and gimmicky.
Yeah.
But in the context of the film, you will understand that it is there for a reason, and there's nothing sleazy or sensational about it. It is there for a reason. Everything is serving a purpose in the film, and everything is connected to something else that's going to happen in the film. And that is true for our film Anaarkali as well. That is also true for whatever is happening in our film. So yeah, I didn't. I mean, yes, some things are uncomfortable, but as a professional actor, you have to learn to kind of bifurcate your personal discomfort and have faith in the script in order to do it. I mean, it's not and as I said, that it's not done in a sleazy way or with the in a desire to titillate. It is done for a reason that has a very valid reason in the script. Yeah.
Correct. But also ये scenes leak कैसे हुए, कैसे होते हैं? Like even if you remember the movie Part, Radhika Apte's love making scene leaked out and this leaked out. So how is it that these scenes leak out? What is happening?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know how things get leaked. I mean, I'm not in the business of or piracy or whatever. But I don't know. I just feel that particular content goes through so many places. There's so many different people that have access to it at different stages, and now technology is such that you can always, I guess the thing with technology is you can either use it or you can misuse it. So, it's that same capability. You need that same capability to use it. You need the same capability to misuse it. Question of intention. So, yeah, I mean, whatever. But luckily for us, and there is a certain inherent mitigatory quality and a certain voyeurism that is involved in this kind of an activity. When people do this, they are basically doing it for a voyeuristic purpose, right? And that reflects our also in some sense our state and our society and how it thinks. I mean, you want to watch all that kind of stuff, come to the hall and watch it.
Pardon?
I'm saying that you want to watch it, you can easily come to the hall and watch it in its proper context.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that is leaked, you're saying, because it has a market, right? Because there were people who see it, there are people who enjoy seeing it.
Yeah. I guess so, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me why you're in the business of media. You tell me why things get leaked.
So is it not possible, there is just one school of thought, Swara, that the leak can also be done by the director or the producer to propagate to publicize his movie to a certain extent? Maybe.
I mean, I think that I'm not the police. That is for the police to find out. Anything is possible, right? But the producer, anything is possible, right? I mean, that is not for me to find out. That is for the police to find out. Our producers lodged a formal complaint in Delhi, in the police station, and there is an investigation that's supposed to be underway. So, I mean, I think that we will come to know about that, the reality of what this is.
Correct. You also did a nice video recently with Tapsi Pannu.
Yes.
Which also, clearly stated that this also the movie seems to be about slut shaming, you're saying, right?
Yes.
And this also, the video which you did was your voice against that.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us, like, what is, as a woman, you feel that, when a girl dresses up glamorously, puts up pictures on the internet, and then she's trolled and then she's shamed. What is your take on that? because it's happening a bit too often nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's really disgusting. It's wrong, and it's really nobody's business what clothes they wear. And I think this slut shaming is essentially a part of a larger culture that we have in our country of, basically not being able to deal with women's sexuality and with feeling, this bizarre kind of judging women by the way they dress. And then from that judging, acha, because they dress like this, their personality must be like this. This is how they must be, this is what their sexual relations must be with people, or their sexual activity, levels of sexual activity, inactivity, number of partners. And then from there jump to the fact that they must be good or bad people. So I think that these are wild leaps that the sort of cultural imagination takes on the basis of a woman's clothes. So much so that judges have been known to ask during rape trials that what was she wearing.
Yeah.
It should be completely irrelevant to whether or not somebody was raped.
Correct.
So rape is a crime notwithstanding what you were wearing. So yeah, I think that which is why I did this video, and I think it's important for women to have a culture where women feel proud of their bodies, where they don't feel apologetic about it, and where women are safe no matter what they wear. And that can only happen when you have a mentality, a cultural mindset that is accepting that people have the right to wear whatever they want, and clothes are not an invitation for crime of any kind.
तो ये कैसे ब्रेक करेंगे, मतलब ये जो परसेप्शन
ये ऐसे ब्रेक करेंगे, you have to challenge it slowly as more and more number of people's mindset changes. That thing gets challenged at the level of an entire society, and people change. It's like saying that किसी ज़माने में सती भी तो प्रथा थी ना, कुछ हिस्सों में इंडिया के, या child marriage भी तो प्रथा थी ना. But now that's changing. Now people now don't think that if you're marrying a child who's 10 years old, everyone is going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
So society changes. It happens slowly, but it happens when more number of people start thinking in the same way. So we have to reach that point about women's clothing as well, and women's bodies.
So beginning has been made.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think so. At least in some parts of India and the world.
Yeah. And also wanted to ask you one thing. So this KRK controversy with you. He started talking some rubbish on Twitter, and then he said picture nahi chalegi. Then he told you something. So I know you replied back to him, but what did you feel? I mean, has he ever interacted with you? Has he ever met you?
No, I don't know him at all, and I didn't. I mean, I only replied, like, sometimes I reply, if you see my Twitter timeline, I sometimes reply to other people also. I don't need to know them or whatever. It's not that it was KRK, so I said you need to reply. It's just that I just thought that, first of all, I wasn't even talking to him, I was talking to Karan. So I was thanking Karan for something that he was very generously, Karan has done for us. So I don't think, I mean, whatever it is, totally, like, it's kind of like somebody butting into a conversation where they're not even involved. It's kind of like who's talking to you. So anyway, I replied to it, and I thought that is done. I didn't realize that it will be picked up by so many people, and so many other blogs will write about it, and so many other, online portals will report on it. So that was kind of a bit funny to see.
Yeah, but his mentality also. He's also one of those guys who takes a dig at women and calls them like all sorts of, right from your all heroines to...
But, which is why it's important to also then challenge that kind of person. And then if they are using the platform of Twitter, then it's also important to check them on the platform of Twitter. I always quote retweet people. I think quote retweet is a great way for women to challenge the kind of people who are, harassing them on Twitter and trolling them. Because I think that it's a great way to sort of point out and shame trolls.
Correct. And one last thing, आज censor हुआ. Last question. आज censor आपकी picture हुई है, and what we learned
क्या
from
बात है यार? You are like, how do you know all this? I'm very impressed with your research.
It's a part of my job, yeah. So I learned that the groping, the scene where is being removed, and 7 more cuts, about total 8 cuts have been given. And so what is your take on that now?
See, I mean, I just want to say that this is not just about my film. I've said this in the past also, that I think that the CBSC is playing a very detrimental role in the Hindi film industry. I think it has been for some I feel like there was a 2-year period when Leela Sampson was the chairperson, when the CDFC was quite liberal. And I know this because, and I have no qualms about admitting it, I know this because my mother was one of the advisory board members, and I saw them deal, like, I had an understanding of how they were dealing with things. And they were quite a lot of, I remember there were a lot of films that my mother also had, that came up to the FCAT, to the tribunal, and that my mother would watch. And I know that a lot of those members had very liberal outlook towards art and culture.
Right.
Unfortunately, that has not been the usual case of the censor board in its entire history, especially this current censor board. And I think, and I have always said that, the job of the censor board is central board for film certification. It's not a board. I don't understand. They are supposed to tell what age group can watch the film. Why are you telling us what to cut and what to keep? Again, also in India, 18 is the official age when people can get married, when they can, drive, when they can own property, when they can drink, when they can vote, of course, they can have children. So you can do all this, but you can't watch a film. Is that what you're trying to tell us? It's ridiculous, right? I think that any good art can only thrive in an environment that is free. Free to even shock if need be, free to have a discussion, free to experiment, free to try something new, maybe fail, but you will be free to fail. Only then will you get some good art. So how can you stifle expression and then expect good cinema to come? Then you keep watching all the usual typical commercial things that are formula films and that thing that you've been watching forever and ever. So I personally, I think that it's very unfortunate, the kind of attitude that the censor board is taken. And this sort of attitude of being at war with filmmakers, that is completely unnecessary, It's not, frankly, I think that even the courts don't have a right to tell artists what to keep and creative people what to keep and what to cut in their expressions. As long as it is not something that is illegal of the Constitution, as long as it is not something that is inciting violence and hatred of another community, I don't think that you should, I don't believe in this culture of banning and taking out, and this is very unfortunate. And in fact, some of the cuts that they recommended I don't know, earlier I knew there were 13 cuts, now they've brought it down to 8, and what can I say, very kind of them.
But they have also, but how do you feel that your scene, which is also cut, I don't know how integral that scene is to the film.
No, it's important to the film, no, because obviously otherwise it wouldn't be there, I wouldn't have done it. It is there for a reason. It is telling you something about Anaarkali's character. It is telling you about the kind of world she lives in, the kind of person she is, the kind of relationship she has with this man. And then based on that, it is going to do something very fundamental for the film, later in the film. There's a line in the trailer which says that humko sachi savitri nahi hai. That is what that scene is showing you. And on the basis of that, the entire conflict of the film rests on a woman like this, who is characterized in a certain way. Now, if you cut out the scene that shows how she's characterized, then what are you going to understand?
So that link is lost.
Yeah, of course it's lost, right?
Yeah. So, but they have retained your scene where the bear back, that's what I'm told.
What can I say? That's very kind of them.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So, I was in fact speaking to Sandeep also right now, the producer, and he confirmed. And in fact, they made him also write an apology letter that, it was not we who had leaked the scenes. That's what
we never said, but it was we never ever, nobody from our team has accused the censor board of leaking the film. This is the censor board that has on its own said that we have been accused. Nobody accused them. But what cuts you've given and on what things you cut out, that we can question you on, no?
Yeah. I understand. But it must have been, just once again on that, you said it was tough to do those scenes, but this particular scene which has been cut, it must have been, damn difficult, I think, to do.
It's the thing is that...
Because there's no camera work involved here, there is direct contact, and, if you do a lovemaking scene and all, there is a lot of drama and more of, it's not real, so...
As I said, the intention is what is important. The intention of why that scene was written, why it's in the film, and what the actor does it with. I know what that intention was because I was very closely, reading all the drafts that Avinash wrote. I know that the respect and integrity with which the scene was shot. I know that Pankaj Tripathi is a very, very amazing actor and a very decent, good man. And I know how uncomfortable he was feeling. to do that scene. So as I said, that I know that there was nobody was getting any sleazy pleasure out of this. It was done purely for the sake of the script and the film, and for that. So there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, I understand.
Vicky, darling, I have to leave.
Yeah, ठीक है. So just last, इसके बाद क्या है आपका after this movie?
Sorry?
After this one, what are you?
Well, I've just finished shooting for a film called Aapke Kamre Mein Koi Rehta Hai, which is directed by Gaurav S. Sinha,
Correct.
who used to be an assistant of Anand Rai and was the writer of Anand Rai's first film called Strangers.
Yeah.
And then I'll start shooting for Veer the Wedding in May.
Lovely. ठीक है Swara. I'll catch up with you very soon, and thank you so much for talking to us.
No problem.
Thank you, Swara. Thanks.